All right, so the need for clarity on all of these, this blizzard of decisions that is being made by the White House has never been more important, because folks like you and me and Real America's Voice, we are living with the consequences of someone else's decisions, and then we're watching with kind of like a horror show of bad decision making. And the only thing that we have on our side is the ability to form the populist movement that responds. There is an increasing awareness that if we do not reorganize the infrastructure of the movement that Trump had, and in a sense acquire ground back with election integrity and election reform, and create new platforms that will not be censored by the political establishment. If we do not do those things, then we are heading in the direction of communism as a nation. Trump said it at CPAC, and I think it's time that we stop dancing around the direction that the Democratic Party is moving in, and I really am not so sure that they're unaware of it. I think that in their world, this kind of single-party dominating monolithic culture in academia and in journalism, reinforcing it in social media and actually weaponizing the Department of Justice and Homeland Security to target their political adversaries. I think this unhealthiness has been existent ever since Donald Trump came into office. It's been exposed, but Donald Trump distracted us because we thought the issue was him. The issue isn't him. The issue is you. This system that is communistic in nature is coming in so rapidly that the American people are needing to actually reorganize themselves to respond. This surge on the border is all part of a philosophy of economic collapse. I'm going to say something which has to be said, and that is that poverty aids the overthrow of government, because what resists communism in America is a middle class. And the middle class is this is what Bannon and these guys have been talking about for years. It got my attention about economic populism. What taps the brakes on communism and Marxism taking over America is a vibrant middle class, meaning people can own a car, own a house, be able to aspire to independence, and then they hold government accountable for how they're creating an environment that is safe and potentially prospering for as many people as possible. That's what we do. We have this deal with government that way. Well, that's changed because the left has figured out, when I say left, I mean Marxist communists in the Democrat Party, have figured out that if they can mock the flag, the symbol of the middle class, the values of America, if they can mock religion, the faith of the middle class in America, if they can somehow divide America based on gay versus straight, or black versus white, or Latino versus Caucasian, if they could divide now Asian against whites, anything they could do to break up the political opposition of the Republican Party increases their power and fragments the middle class. The consequence of that, though, is the destruction of the American experiment. And I think you get that. That's why Real America's Voice really has an architecture to it. All of us are doing thrusts and pinpricks into the fabric of this lie so that the light can kind of break out. Let's circle for a second back to the immigration issue. Why do the Democrats want, as they say, at the border? We were down there. Mercedes and I live in Texas. We went down and did our own visual, physical inspection and saw the dangerous crossing. We ran into the crossing. We literally were. We had personal interaction with people that were the coyotes, as they're called, the ones that were coming over that are armed. And what we'll tell you is this. The left wants a surge of 1 million non-Americans coming in over the border because the disruption especially with Texas and Arizona and Colorado. They believe that it's going to turn those states blue. They also believe that these people are going to vote with the legalization of what they say is 7 million, which is actually 20 million illegal immigrants in the country, and another million coming in. They believe they can, by voter process, with ballots, be able to sweep the field of all opposition and have permanent control of America. So, and if the economics goes down and we collapse, well, what does that mean? More dependency on government. And that's how they stay in power. You guys see this. I want you to see clearly what the big demonic game is. So now let's go to Biden's fact-checking. When he talks about the border, and he says, oh, no, you think it's bad, and then he lies to you. He says, look, there's been a 28% increase in children on the border, and we got a plan to deal with that. But Trump, during the same time, had a 31% increase. So he's making it sound like the problem isn't as bad as when Trump was here, and Trump's part of the problem right now. Here's the facts, and you got to have it. The fact is, then I want to quote it, the number of unaccompanied children at the border rose 61% under Biden, and the conditions are 10 times more compact and dangerous in the detention centers. Biden claimed that Trump wiped out the incentivizing of Central America with $700 million in aid, and that Biden removed that holding back of money. And what did Biden get for it? He releases $700 million back to Central America, which, by the way, goes to the Democrats, socialists, progressives that are trying to seize power in those nations. Listen to me. $700 million. Trump actually was using that money to negotiate with them on holding. When someone goes into Guatemala, hold them. When someone goes into El Salvador, hold them. When someone goes into Mexico, hold them. And what Biden's policy is he said, forget holding them. Open the gates all the way through Central America, and we'll give you money to do it. Do you see how wicked this is? All right, I got that out of my system. Mercedes, what would you like to add to this right now?
Man, you got me thinking so many different thoughts, you know, and I love like the 30,000-foot view there of what's really going on, and that it's actually, it's like, as you're talking, it makes me think of like an octopus with like all these arms trying to just bring down the American economy.
It's a spirit, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's what it feels like, because you've got all of these, you know, we've got almost like a zombie economy happening where we have entire industries propped up by government spending. And now we have policy coming out of the administration that, like you're saying, open wide the gates, let everybody come in who wants to be here. Meanwhile, we've got millions of Americans who are still out of work. We don't have really anyone working as much as we used to. And, you know, who's going to pay for all this? Where's all the money going to come from? We got tax hikes coming up. So like you're saying, we're seeing like the cannibalism of the middle class and the death of the middle class in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, I mean, we can go to the videos I wanted to show you out of Donna, Texas. This is just where the reporter had come from. So this facility here is meant to hold 80 people, and it has 709, and that is coming directly from Senator James Lankford. This is his footage. He was just down there. And also, this is a real stark contrast, so you could see it. Let's put up his tweet he put out, and it shows you compared from 2019 to right now and what the facility looks like. It's really shocking.
It's Trump versus Biden right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see the lie? You see the lie? when he talks about that it was higher with Trump than with us. No, it is 61% higher than it's ever been, and it's right there on the right. The picture says it all. Biden is lying, and this is why the government, can you believe the temerity of these people? They don't want the U.S. senators going down there. I'm still trying to figure out how they could do this. They don't want any cameras or any footage. So when Cruz and a couple other senators actually run into cartel people on the other side of the Rio Grande and the river, and they're flashing them and taunting them, and they've got laser lights, and they're literally being engaged. On the other side of the river, they don't know these are U.S. senators, and the U.S. senators would say, you have to take my word for it, I'm not allowed to record it. What kind of craziness is this? Anyway, I'll stop. Yeah. Keep going. I'm getting excited.
Well, yeah, the other thing is when we actually went down there, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, I brought a group of like 30 moms. Honestly, we did a mom's caravan down there because I wanted to see what was really happening at the border. And one of the shocking things for me that I learned, and probably you all know this, I learned this at the time, but that the cartels actually make more money on human trafficking at this point than they do off of drugs. And these people that are coming through, these aren't just coming from South America, they're coming from China, they're coming from Africa, Eastern Europe, all sorts of different places, because they believe that's how you get into America, is you come up through the southern border. And so it's really shocking. I mean, to the point where we have what's happening now is the cartels are pushing caravans through in one way, and then they're moving drugs another way. So Border Patrol's got to deal with the influx of thousands of people over here, and then they can just get the drugs right into America a lot easier. So it's just not a humanitarian crisis. It's a drug crisis. The security of the southern border is paramount to protecting not just our safety, but to Lance's point, our economy. So those are my thoughts, Lance.
Well, I can't wait till Donald Trump, the wrecking ball, emerges, because he's already telling people he's going to go to the border and create a press event. Oh, boy, I would love to see that. And I guarantee there'll be 20, 30 million people watching Trump's response on the border when he comes back with the facts. We'll be back in a moment.
LanceWallnau has just released his latest book, God's Chaos Code.
You need to know the code. You need to know what's happening right now. There is a code in the chaos. There's a purpose in the shaking. Once you see this, it's going to give stability and strength to you. God is literally raising up an awakening generation right now. It's hidden in the code.
You need to know the code. Order God's Chaos Code now at godschaoscode.com.